Hi, this is Stan Dubin, and welcome to the Hiring Tips Podcast. The name of this tip is, Sometimes It's Best to Say Nothing. Throughout the hiring interview, you're always looking to get as much information as you possibly can. Questions like, can you give me another example of that? And can you tell me how that affected you? And can you provide more details on what happened there? Are examples of how to get more complete answers to your questions. But there's another approach that can coax additional information from the applicant, saying absolutely nothing. A well-placed pause in the interview often will cause your applicant to give you that additional information. What are you, the interviewer, doing during this silent pause? Well, I wouldn't suggest staring at the applicant. You could look down at his resume and then look back at the applicant, maybe even do that a couple of times. You could even include in your facial expression a certain expectancy. If your applicant asks what's happening, you might say, "Oh, I thought you weren't finished and had more to say on that last question." And there's possibly a side benefit to this approach. Nothing being said in the interview for 20 or 30 seconds could produce a bit of anxiety for some. If half of a minute of silence can produce an anxious applicant, how will he perform when things get really stressful on the job? Granted, there's always a level of stress the applicant is dealing with as he makes his way through the hiring process. But all in all, we're using this interview to find out as much as we can before we make our hiring decision. Thank you for listening. In addition to our podcast, we have a service that will help you hire honest, trustworthy, and dependable staff. Watch our 3-minute video at thetestingservice.com. Once again, that's thetestingservice.com.